Welcome to the Scenic Bookcast. Today we are undertaking a really critical deep dive into what might be the ultimate field guide for decoding human behavior. We're looking at the insights from former FBI agent Joe Navarro's life's work, all summarized in his book, The Dictionary of Body Language.
It really is the perfect source for this. It just gets right to the core of why nonverbal communication matters so much. Navarro kicks it off with this incredible quote. It's from John Napier, and it says, "If language was given to men to conceal their thoughts, then gesture's purpose was to disclose them."
Wow. I mean, that's basically our mission statement right there, isn't it? Reading the room.
Exactly. And Navarro is the perfect guide for this, not because he was, some academic in a lab. This guy spent 25 years as an FBI special agent. He was in the elite National Security Behavioral Analysis Program.
But we're talking about thousands of high-stakes interviews. This is real-world application.
It is. But what gives his work so much weight, for me, is where it all started. It's deeply personal. He came to the U.S. when he was just 8 years old, a refugee from Cuba.
And he couldn't speak any English.
Not a word. So he had to survive by decoding body language. It was the only thing that made any sense to him.
So he essentially became fluent in this unspoken language just to figure out the basics. Who's a friend, who's a threat, who's upset.
And that taught him something really early on that most of us, well, we never fully get. People lie, or at least they try to manage what they say. But their bodies, their nonverbals, almost always broadcast how they actually feel.
So the goal isn't just lie detection, it's spotting the issue, the conflict that the body is signaling.
Exactly. So our mission today is to follow his structure, basically. We're going to move through the body, part by part, head to hands, and pull out the most reliable, the most surprising behaviors so you can become a much better observer in your own life.
Okay, so where do we start? What's the foundational idea here?
The core framework is surprisingly simple. Navarro found that basically all human behaviors can be put into one of two buckets. They are either markers of psychological comfort or discomfort.
That's it. Comfort versus discomfort. That almost sounds too simple.
It does, but it works because what we're seeing are these involuntary responses from the emotional parts of our brain. We're talking about the limbic system. It's the part that handles survival and emotion, and it reacts instantly, honestly.
So before our thinking brain even has a chance to construct a lie or hide how we feel.
The limbic brain has already sent the signal. It's hardwired. And the proof he gives for this is just fascinating. He talks about observing congenitally blind children, kids who have never seen another person's body language. And yet they show these complex instinctual behaviors, like when they get excited, they do the happy feet bounce, or when they feel confident, they do the hand steeple.
Wow. So they didn't learn that. It's just in our DNA.
It's in our DNA, activated by what he calls deep paleo circuits, which means we can trust these signals. Now, since our daily lives are, full of little anxieties, our bodies have ways of dealing with that stress.
Right. He calls them pacifiers.
Yes. These are self-soothing behaviors. We do them constantly. As adults, it's not thumb-sucking anymore. It's more subtle things.
Like touching your face? Or playing with your hair.
Or adjusting your watch when it doesn't need it, twisting a ring. They're just these little repetitive actions that calm us down when we feel a little bit of stress.
Okay, so let's start at the top. The command center, the head. He mentions briefly that, hats and things can show status or allegiance, but the hair itself is a big pacifier.
A huge one, especially for women. Twirling, stroking. It's generally a stress reliever, but if you want to know why they're doing it, you have to look at the hand.
The orientation of the palm, right, that matters.
It matters a lot. If the palm is facing the head, it's usually an inward-focused stress or anxiety signal. But if the hand turns and the palm faces out, exposing the wrist, that's a public display of comfort, openness. You see it a lot in dating scenarios.
That's a great distinction. Okay, what about interlacing fingers behind the head? There are two versions of this that mean completely opposite things.
Yes, this is a perfect example of a subtle change meaning everything. First, you have hooding. That's fingers interlaced behind the head, elbows spread wide.
Taking up space.
Exactly. It's territorial. It says, I'm comfortable, I'm in charge. You will almost never see someone do this in front of their boss or someone of higher status.
Because it's a challenge. Okay, but then what about interlacing the fingers on top of the head? How is that different?
The whole dynamic shifts. With this one, the palms are usually pressing down and the elbows pull in. This is the complete opposite. It's a sign of being overwhelmed, struggling with some kind of calamity. It's a self-compressing gesture.
Fascinating. Just a few inches of difference in hand placement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the forehead. Furrowing the brow seems like an obvious one for worry.
It is, and it's a great real-time indicator that something's wrong. Doubt, anxiety, you name it. But this brings up a really modern problem, Botox. By masking those stress lines, it can actually make reading emotional cues much harder. Navarro even points out that babies react negatively to a furrowed brow, so if a parent can't make that expression, it can disrupt that nonverbal communication.
That is a wild consequence. So, for a stress signal we can actually trust, what should we look for?
Temple vein throbbing. It's not subtle, but it's highly accurate. That is a pure signal of autonomic arousal. The brain is kicking into survival mode. Fear, anger, intense anxiety. It's totally uncontrollable.
Okay, what about the eyebrows? They move so fast.
That's why they're so crucial. The eyebrow flash, or arching, is the good one. Lasts less than a fifth of a second. It's that quick, gravity-defying, I see you, I like you, signal of recognition.
Well, when they knit together.
That's the opposite. Narrowing the eyebrows, knitting them, that signals an issue. Concern, dislike. It's the emoji face for not happy. And if you see asymmetry, one brow up, one normal, that's the classic look of doubt or skepticism.
The Jack Nicholson look. All right, onto the eyes. The so-called windows to the soul. I imagine the involuntary stuff here is the most revealing.
It is, because you literally cannot control it. Look at the pupils. When we're comfortable or pleased, they dilate. It softens the eyes. When we feel negative emotions, they constrict instantly, shrink to pinpoints.
A limbic response to sharpen focus during a threat.
Precisely. And another one is orbital narrowing. The muscles around the eyes contract when we're stressed or upset. The eye sockets themselves seem to get smaller.
Okay, let's bust a myth here, because everyone thinks looking away or blinking means someone is lying.
Yeah, that's a huge oversimplification, and it's mostly wrong. Frequent blinking just means stress. That's it. It's not a lie detector. And looking away, that just means the person is thinking. They're processing information. It's not a sign of deception on its own.
So what's the more reliable blocking behavior with the eyes?
It's more literal. Closing your eyes for longer than a normal blink. That's dislike. You're literally trying to block out what you're seeing or hearing. And, most powerfully, actually covering the eyes with a hand. That's a huge tell for a negative event or a lack of confidence.
And again, he sees this in congenitally blind children. It's just so deeply ingrained. Okay, let's move to the nose.
The nose gives us one of the most accurate universal signals of disgust. It's the nose wrinkling upward. Some people call it the bunny nose. It's an involuntary muscle contraction when we dislike something, a smell, a statement, an idea.
An honest, fast rejection signal.
Totally. And then there's covering the nose completely with both hands.
What is that signal?
Universal shock or fear. The evolutionary theory is that it's a primal instinct to muffle our breathing so a predator can't hear us. The body is trying to disappear.
That's incredible. Okay, so from the face, let's go to the mouth. It's a constant broadcaster of stress.
It really is. The first one to look for is lip compression. This happens when you encounter something negative. The lips just narrow and press together. It can be super fleeting, but it's a very accurate register of a negative thought.
And that's different from pursing your lips, right?
Very different. Lip pursing is when they pinch forward. That signals disagreement, or that the person is actively thinking of an alternative. You see it in negotiations all the time.
And then, of course, you have the pacifiers, like lip biting or chewing.
Right. And the tongue has its own tells. Tongue jutting, where it pokes out quickly between the teeth. That often means I got away with something, or oops, I got caught.
A little release of tension.
Yes. And then there's the other one where people stick their tongue out to the side when they're concentrating on something complex. That's a pacifying behavior. And it's also a signal that says, don't bother me, I'm focusing.
So we've covered the command center. What about the most vulnerable spot on the whole body? The neck.
Yeah, this is so important. Because the neck is structurally weak and vital, any motion to cover it is significant. Specifically, look for someone covering the suprasternal notch. That's the little dimple at the base of the throat.
So when someone fiddles with their necklace or adjusts the knot of their tie right over that spot.
That's it. It's a subconscious, accurate indicator of concern, fear, or insecurity. The limbic brain is yelling, protect the weak spot.
It's a primal reflex. Wow. What about rubbing the side of the neck?
Another fascinating one. When people do that, they are unconsciously massaging the vagus nerve. This actually sends a signal to the heart to slow down. It releases a chemical that calms us. So they are literally self-medicating for stress without even knowing it.
That's amazing. A built-in biological off-ramp for anxiety. So on the flip side, what does exposing the neck like tilting the head communicate?
That's a huge sign of comfort and interest. Head canting, exposing the neck, is powerfully disarming. It signals vulnerability and openness. You see it in courtship, but also when someone is really listening and receptive to an idea.
Okay, moving down to the shoulders. What are they telling us?
Insecurity, mainly. The turtle effect, raising both shoulders up high, is a sign of doubt. The body is trying to hide in the open to protect the head and neck.
And what if it's just one shoulder?
Raising a single shoulder often suggests insecurity about what's being said, or in a negotiation, it can mean, I'm not fully convinced there's room to move here.
Whereas widening the shoulders, spreading the elbows out across the desk.
Pure confidence, territoriality, I'm in charge here. And related to that is what he calls ventral denial.
The ventral side being our front, our torso.
Exactly. When we dislike someone or what they're saying, we subconsciously turn our belly, our most vulnerable area, away from them. The opposite is ventral fronting. We face people we're comfortable with head on.
Which brings us back to the classic myth of crossed arms.
Yes, and Navarro is very clear on this. Arm crossing is most often just a self-hug, a comfort mechanism. We do it when we're cold or bored or just need to self-soothe. It's not automatically a barrier.
So it only becomes defensive if it's paired with other things.
Exactly. If it's tense and they turn away from you and maybe grip their biceps really tightly, then yes, it's a barrier. Otherwise, they're probably just giving themselves a hug.
We mistake a comfort behavior for an aggressive one. That's a huge takeaway. Okay, let's finish with the hands.
The hands are massive communicators. For pure confidence, you can't beat the hand steeple. Just placing the fingertips together, arching the hands, it's a universal sign that someone is very comfortable with their own thoughts.
What about the palms? Up versus down.
Palms up is the cooperative, humble position. It says, I have nothing to hide. Palms push firmly down with fingers spread wide while making a statement that signals genuine commitment. He notes that people who are lying really struggle to do that downward press with authenticity.
And what's a key sign of really high stress in the hands?
Look for the teepee finger rub. That's when the fingers are interlaced and ramrod straight and they're rubbing back and forth. That signals a very high degree of discomfort. A less severe version is just holding onto furniture, a desk edge, a chair while making a statement. That need to physically ground themselves shows they're insecure about what they're saying.
So, after all this, what's the big picture for someone listening? We've basically gone through a field guide to human behavior.
And it's all anchored in that one simple metric, comfort versus discomfort. The book's real power is that it gives you these concrete, observable things to look for. So whether you're in a meeting or just talking to your partner, you can stop just hearing the words and start reading the entire person.
Which leads to a final thought, really. What does it mean for all of our relationships that this universal language of the body, the pupil dilation, the nose wrinkling, is operating completely outside of our conscious control?
It means the truth is always there, because these limbic responses are constantly broadcasting our real feelings, our stress, our fear, our dislike, in fractions of a second. It's happening regardless of what our words are trying to hide. The real conversation is always there, right beneath the surface, just waiting to be read.
That's all for this deep dive into decoding human behavior. We hope you feel much better equipped to read the room and the people in it.
Until next time, keep observing the comfort and discomfort all around you.